All right, let's talk about a massive promise: how to get way better grades with less stress and in less time. I know, it sounds almost too good to be true, right? But the secret is all in one powerful and kind of counterintuitive rule. So, does this scene look a little too familiar? You're just staring at this mountain of reading, your notes are a mess, and the exam is just breathing down your neck. The pressure is on, and you're probably thinking, there is no way there are enough hours in the day for all of this.
And that feeling of being completely swamped, that's what we call the overwhelmed student's dilemma. It is such a common trap, and it's all built on a really flawed idea about how we're supposed to learn. We've all had this drilled into our heads, right? The logic seems to make sense. More hours should equal more learning, and that should equal better grades. But this whole work harder mindset, well, that's what leads straight to exhaustion and burnout. And a lot of the time, the results just don't match the effort. This right here is the inefficiency trap. It's that voice in your head telling you that you have to absorb every single word, making you reread chapters until your eyes just glaze over. It's when you treat a tiny footnote with the same importance as a huge core concept. This isn't just inefficient, it's a recipe for failure.
But what if there was a totally different way to do things? A way to actually escape that trap? This is the turning point. This is where we introduce a simple principle that's going to completely flip the old school study model on its head. This is the solution: 80-20. And no, these are not just some random numbers. It's an incredibly powerful principle that can fundamentally change the way you approach learning and success.
So it's officially known as the Pareto principle. And what's wild is that you can see it everywhere, in business, in economics, and yep, even in academics. It basically tells us that the huge majority of our results, like 80% of them, come from a very small, very critical portion of our efforts, just 20%.
I mean, look at that imbalance. It's kind of staggering. A small, highly focused 20% of your effort can give you a massive 80% of your success. You see, the key isn't to just work more hours. It's to find and laser focus on that critical 20%. So how do we actually do that? Well, it all starts with a shift in your mindset. We need to stop thinking like that overwhelmed student and start thinking like a strategy student. This person is the hero of our story. And the difference is just night and day. The overwhelmed student is obsessed with the quantity of hours they put in, trying to learn absolutely everything. The strategy student, on the other hand, focuses on the quality of the concepts with one simple goal: learn what actually matters. Okay, this is where it gets super practical. We've gone over the what and the why, so now let's dive into the how. How do you actually find that crucial 20% of the material that's going to deliver 80% of your exam score? It really just boils down to this four-step process. First, you preview. Just get the lay of the land. Then you identify the main pillars, the big ideas of the topic. After that, you go hunting for clues that your professor has been giving you all along. And finally, you prioritize and focus all your energy right there. And the crucial part is knowing where to look for these clues. Did your professor repeat a concept 3 times in one lecture? That's a huge clue. Is something in bold in the textbook or highlighted in the chapter summary? That's a clue. Past exams, study guides, questions they spent a little extra time on in class, these are all giant flashing signs pointing you directly to the 20%. When you start using this strategic approach, the outcome is just transformative. It's not about cramming more. It's about getting to a place of true mastery over the most important information. And you do it in a fraction of the time. This quote just cuts right to the heart of it all. It totally reframes the entire purpose of studying. Your mission isn't to become some kind of walking encyclopedia. It's to master the material that is actually going to be on the exam. And that's really the ultimate takeaway here. The path to better grades isn't paved with more hours of suffering. It's about making a conscious choice to stop studying harder and to finally start studying smarter. So I'll leave you with this question to chew on. As you prepare for your next exam, what is the 80% of fluff? You know, the minor details, the extra examples, the chapters you know aren't essential. What is the fluff that you are going to consciously choose to ignore first?